Woo. Good morning, Devils fans. We came away with 1 point last night in a shootout loss to the Arizona Coyotes. 4-3 with the final, obviously. Only 3 goals scored by each team, being as it was a shootout loss. And I don't know about you guys, but at least when it comes to the shootout, I basically don't care once it even starts, whether we win or lose it that way, as I don't really consider it real hockey or it to be indicative of where a team is or is not at by any means. We should not be a borderline playoff team at all this year. So this point, if anything, really only matters for are we going to beat out Carolina for the top of the division or President's Trophy race, etc., etc. Now, obviously, before we get into that, definitely need to right the ship in a few areas. But all in all, I really did not see much to be concerned about in this game. I know a lot of Devils fans are really nitpicking at a lot of things, but I said it when previewing this game for multiple days now. The Coyotes were not going to be an easy one. I thought they were going to be a much more difficult game than Detroit, and it turned out that was the case. This is not the Yotes of old. They mostly revamped the roster, especially bringing Cooley in, who had a really great night. He looked really good. And yeah, they were a tough competition from start to finish, really, especially there in that first period. Um, Goalies on both ends, both Schmid and Vejmelka were fantastic. Both of them really had to make some high quality saves, especially Schmid early on, and Vejmelka more from the second and third period and overtime to really keep them in it. Otherwise, this game could have gone either way if not for the goalies, but I'd say on the whole, we were the better team. Definitely not in the first, don't get me wrong. Definitely need to fix up the first period. That's kind of been a reoccurring issue now since last season. But second, third, overtime, we looked really good. Um, but if there is something that we should examine a bit more, it is going to be the 5-on-5 play. Now, this was an absolute strength of ours last season, so for me, it's not all that concerning because when a team that has not had too much turnover and is staying within the same system has a slow start out the gate like this in an area that we were one of the best teams in the NHL in last year, you don't need to worry too much. Not like the power play was absolutely suffocating us, which it is absolutely not. It was probably one of the few strengths in this game. Then that might be a concern because it was middle of the pack last year. We were looking for improvement this year, and improvement we got. We dominated 5v5 last year, and at least through these first couple of games, it hasn't been a overwhelming strength of ours. We really outshot every team last year, and now we've been outshot in these games, especially to start. So I don't know if it's just the boys needing to get their legs under them or a few new guys on our top lines that are still acclimating. To kind of go over that quickly, Jack continues to be actual MVP caliber candidate. Another 3 assists in this one. Basically, completely controlled, dominated our offensive game. He was in on every single one of our goals. Jesper Bratt found his legs in this one. He looked dynamic at multiple times, obviously scoring 2. Could have had a hat trick if he would have buried the breakaway. But, that's hockey. And Toffoli even continues to fit in well with those two, but obviously is not the driver on that line, nor does he need to be. He had a couple chances to finish, which he did not, but that is going to eventually come for him. It's kind of after that we're looking for a bit more. Second line, Nico, Timo, and Mercer has not been all we were expecting, at least to start. Nico, I think, had a much better game this one than he did in the opener, but Mercer and Timo still look a bit lost out there. Timo, I can give some leeway to. Still a new team. He hasn't, fully acclimated in yet. He's still trying to figure out his role, not just within the team, but on that line itself. Who's driving play, who's taking what areas, and that's just something that's going to come as we continue to play. Mercer, on the other hand, definitely is having a bit more of a slow start. I don't know if, maybe over this weekend they're going to flip him back over to the Holla line where he was looking a lot better, at least in preseason, and give Holtz a chance back with Timo and Nico because I thought Holtz actually, again, looked pretty solid. Set up another few chances, had some good away from the puck play. Again, he's not being super dynamic out there. He was not drafted to be a play driver. That is on Holla and Palat to do on that line for him. But again, if you put him up there, I think with Nico and Timo, give them a bit more of the responsibility to drive and control play just between those two and set up Holtz for success. Maybe that might bring all of them into the score sheet, which we definitely need because I mean, I want to say Jack can't carry every single game, but he kind of probably can, huh? Like, he's Jack Hughes. There doesn't look like there's anything this season that's going to stop him. He looks stronger. He looks faster. He looks more determined. And I mean, that's really just what happens when you have a kid that is very confident, not just in his game, but in the system and those around him. Basically, all the system stuff now is just second nature. He knows what's expected. He knows what he needs to do every time he steps on the ice. So he just lets his skills do the talking for him while he is out there. And I think that's where you're kind of seeing Toffoli and Timo are a bit more half a second late on just some of the decision makings where they need to be on the ice and again what their role is within the line itself that they are playing on. I did take a look back last year. Timo actually had a fairly slow start as well. I think he only had 2 points in his first 9 games. Didn't even get his first goal until the 10th game, and he still, even with the injury and missing some time, had a 40-goal campaign. So that was on the Sharks, where he was there his entire career. He knew all the players. He knew the system. He knew his role, again, within the team, within his line, within the power play. He was top power play unit there. He was not out there for the 5-on-3, which the 5 guys we threw out for the 5-on-3, I really consider would be our top unit if we ever do, as I hope, and just load up. But it's hard to complain when we still ended up with 2 power play goals, one from that unit and then one from the 1A squad, if you will, of Jack, Brett, Luke, Palat, and Toffoli. So yeah, there was a lot to like, and there was a lot to not like on the whole. I'm not gonna dig into Timo too much. Yes, we need him and Nico to produce. We need it. Jack and Brett are not gonna be able to almost not single-handedly, but between the two of them, carry us through every single game offensively. We need our other top 6 line to show up on the score sheet. If not every single night, it's got to be at least one of them trading off, with assists, goals. We need something there. But I think a lot of Devils fans just feel the sting of this one a bit more because, well, we were leading in the third. Brendan Smith again takes a penalty that leads to a goal against that gets us to the point of losing in the shootout. And it was the Coyotes. Everyone just kind of looks down on the Yotes and just thinks of them as an easy win. And I was trying to prepare you guys for it. They were not going to be that. They are much better, and they got skill. Clayton Keller is a lot better than people give him credit for. And even then, Bukestad coming in is fine. Schmaltz is really good. Krause is fine as a third liner. I mean, there's talent here. Are they going to be a playoff team? No, probably not. But they're going to fight every team, every game. So we only play them one more time. It is the Coyotes. On the whole, I say if we play the Coyotes 10 games a year, we're probably winning 8 of them. So these things happen. And even at that, we definitely didn't dominate them and just kind of lose this one when we shouldn't have. It was a pretty close game. Yotes played well. Again, Vejmelka was fantastic and really kept them in it through the second, third, and fourth, while Schmid kind of kept us in it in the first, and then even some other spots throughout the game where I think they had some high-quality chances. Next thing I really want to touch on is, again, the goals for and against, a bit awkward. It was a lot of penalties in this one. That second period was ridiculous. Now, the first goal against was a true 5-on-5 goal, absolute breakdown on our side. Left the trailer completely open for the one-time drop pass shot, and it just beats Schmid. Now, he might think, I probably have to have that one. I have a clean look at him, but that was about mid-ice in the offensive zone. Drop pass, bomb of a one-timer. Yeah, maybe you get that sometimes, but I don't put too much on the goalie on that one. It was just a dirty shot by Dumba, and that, really that I think is our first actual 5-on-5 goal against. And it was the only 5-on-5 goal against so far in 2 games. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. The next one was a power play goal. Dersey, again, has a nice bomb. That's fine. It was traffic in front. I think it was a 3-guy screen between both the Coyotes players and ours. And still, what I do like from that was Schmid still tracked it. If you watch the replay, looking from behind Dersey as he's shooting it, Schmid was actually really close to getting over and stopping that one, even with the 3-person screen in front of him. But it's a power play goal. It's so far, our penalty kill definitely seems to be trying to find its feet. I believe that was the one that Siegenthaler was out for, so we had Graves out with Marino, so not necessarily our top PK unit, but even still, Maybe a little bit of practice needs to happen on the PK. The guys just got to find their spots there, as we did lose a couple of our best penalty killers with Graves out. We lost Igor, and so Holla, McLeod, Ball was in there. Just kind of, they got to figure out exactly the gaps and zone that they want to play with each other when it's those four guys. But then we had a 4-on-4 goal with Jack and Brat just doing Jack and Brat things. The power play goal with the Dougie bomb, and then another power play goal with Jack and Brat doing Jack and Brat things. Special teams is looking offensively really good. I mean, even Nico almost had the shorthanded goal as well. And then obviously the third period power play goal against, where Cooley had the disgusting pass over to Schmaltz, and again Schmid almost had it, didn't. Just they hemmed us in. We need to get the clears on the PK. That's really what happened on both of them. Is just we did not get the clears. They held us in. You get tired. You just are an inch away from getting in the lane. Doesn't happen, and the puck goes in. So 1 5-on-5 goal against in 2 games. Cannot be too upset at that. Overtime, we looked dynamic as always. Jack could have scored, it felt like 3, 4, or 5 goals during that. Again, we cannot sing Jack's praises high enough here, and the kid is looking dynamo. Truly, I think he is on his way to an MVP candidate here. But it went to a shootout. I said it from the top. A shootout's a shootout. Whatever. I just don't care, like, at all. I'm not going to rip the team apart on a shootout. It means nothing. You could even say the 3-on-3 does not mean much, but at least there it's hockey. And maybe it's because we're good at that I like the 3-on-3, and we've just always had a history of being terrible on the shootout that I feel that way. But yeah, I don't care once it goes to a shootout. Really, to me now, we are 104, 0, and 1, right? We'll go back to that scoring system. Used to be that way in the NHL. Why not again, right? So, we'll see how the next one goes. We got a couple days off here, Saturday and Sunday. We're back at it on Monday. I'm hoping for some more special teams. And again, I'm hoping Holtz comes in. And while I think Smith actually on the whole had a pretty good game, that penalty was an absolute dagger in the back. And I could see Ruff swapping him out and giving Miller finally a chance for actual in-game situations. For some other guys, I thought Luke played quite well. Nico, like I said, had one of his better games. Halapalat, they ran into each other for that first Dumba goal. That's where the breakdown came from. Halapalat ran into each other at the blue line, completely opened up a wide spread of ice on the opposite side, and the Dumba bomb happened. So it's a breakdown. It's, 2 guys knew what the line with each other, still figuring it out, getting that synergy, but kind of just an excuse there that they're 2 vet guys that really shouldn't happen, but it did. And it's a long season, and it's going to happen again where we're going to have some breakdowns like that. But reassuring is our top guy, Jack, is still able to carry us through a game where we looked almost down and out. 2 goals down in the second. We came storming back to get up 3-2. So that's the stuff you do like to see. Again, even when you're not having your best games as a good team, you need to find ways to score goals and win, and we almost did that. Shootout loss be damned. That's what it is. So, yeah, I don't know if I have too much on this. Schmid kept us in it. Vejmelka was probably their best player. I'm going to say probably. Vejmelka was their best player. Schmid was probably our third, with Jack and Brat being 1 and 2. Dougie, I think, had another good game. It wasn't Siegenthaler's best. He was fine. But the defense as a whole, was just not that great. Even if individually I thought guys had moments, on the whole, just wasn't our best showing. The fourth line had its moments too. On the whole, really, it was not that bad of a game. So hold your heads up high over the weekend on this one, Devils fans. We got 3 out of 4 points on 2 games. At this point last year, we were 0-2 with no points, and now we're at 3 out of 4. And if it's a shootout loss where that point is a difference, I live with that. I can live with that all the time. So, yeah, I'm going to call it here on this one, guys. Probably going to do a bit of a preview or see what comes out with practices and stuff this weekend come tomorrow. And, yeah, that will do it. I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning, as always and forever, baby. Let's go Devils.